Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. This guy missed a couple of sitters at the weekend. Celtic really need to find their way to goals, especially coming into a home game in the Europa League. It's an important game. It is the second game in the Europa. I take away the 30 odd minutes of silence. Celtic do sit 17th in the Europa League. We need to get off the mark because staying at this end of the Europa is not a question for me. I think that Celtic should be at least aiming for top 8 in the competition. We have our next game at home at Celtic Park against Braga, who won against Feyenoord 1-0. They actually lost yesterday. So they'll be going into the game on the back of a 1-0 defeat. And it'll be interesting to see whether Celtic can... And it was at home as well. It was a 1-0 defeat at home. So it'll be interesting to see if Celtic can get the firepower needed. They're currently sitting 7th in the league in Portugal. Porto sitting top. Benfica sitting 3rd. Sporting sitting 2nd. But Braga are sitting down 7th. So you're thinking that Celtic should be able to get a decent result at home. We do need to find the way to the back of the net. Players have been talking about the fact of the silence and the wall of silence. Your silence is deafening protest. We just need to control what we can on the pitch, said Luke McCowan. He says, look, I could actually hear people talking to themselves, talking to each other on the pitch, which was actually quite strange at Celtic Park. The fans are doing what they want, fair enough to them. I've got enough mates and family within the support to know the scripts. So we've got to express ourselves, they've got to express themselves, and they're doing that. What the fans do doesn't matter to us on the pitch, because let's face it, we need to do our job on the pitch, and we need to win games. And if we can score goals, it would be like a number of goals, 2 or 3. I think Celtic need to score at least 2 or 3 goals in this competition every single game at home, because goals are going to matter. When you look at Celtic Park, there are still a number of seats available around the stadium. It's not a sellout, but it's not a boycott either. There's quite a lot of it is just single seats around the stadium now. If you go on and check it, even the top tier, the top end of. Are you sure you want to change this seat? What section is this? I'll just click on that. That is area 408, which is in the top tier, right up three rows from the back. 408 row Z, seat 26 is available, and then there's ones further down. 407 row J, seat 20, and then right down the front of the top tier, just above the Green Brigade, you've got area 401. Row A, seat 1. I used to know a few guys that sat up there. And then obviously areas that aren't for public sales, the Green Brigade area, the boys area. But there are a number of seats still available. There doesn't seem to be a boycott for this game. People are still taking up the majority of their seats. So it is what it is. It's going to be an interesting week with Celtic drawing a blank at the weekend. Can they get the number of goals required to make sure that we get a win? But I think it has to be a convincing win in Europe. This is a competition that I think that we can go far in. And I think that backing the team more important than a wall of silence against the board. I mean, I know that people want to protest, but if this harms the team in any way in the first half an hour, could it have an adverse effect, I think is what I'm saying. But I hope it doesn't. I just hope it doesn't. When you look at the team, they played not too bad at the weekend, the first half. People will say that, look, Brendan Rodgers changed things. I think he needed to get game time into the players. And there's one person at the game at the weekend that was missing. There was an empty seat at Celtic Park. Even though it was sold out, there was an empty seat in the main stand. And it was Peter Lawwell. And no one's been talking about it. No one's been talking about the fact that Peter Lawwell, for the first home game since all this kind of kicked off, was missing in action. Where was Peter Lawwell at the weekend? There has been grumblings that Peter Lawwell may be the one that was behind the state. Of course it was Peter Lawwell. And for the fact that Brendan Rodgers has come out and said, when he was asked about the the statement that came out against him, saying that he was trying to manufacture his way out of Celtic Park and saying that he was this and that and to the Sun, it had Peter Lawwell writing all over it. And there has been suggestions that Peter Lawwell may retire due to ill health. It's not been confirmed and it's not been denied, but there has been mumblings, even, whatever. There's been chat about it, but we'll wait and see. Would that be enough for the Celtic fans to calm down on their protests against the board? Would getting rid of Peter Lawwell be enough, or will it just say, right, we've got rid of one, but just keep on pushing and try and get rid of the rest? That's not what I want to talk about on Monday morning. I want to focus on the team, but I wonder where Peter Lawwell was, because usually at home games, Peter Lawwell's always at home games. Okay, he's maybe not away games as much these days, but he's definitely at home games, and he was posted missing at the weekend. And maybe we're looking into it too much. Maybe he was just on holiday. Maybe he was overseeing DD in America watching the golf. I doubt it, because he wasn't pictured with them. Anyway, when you look at it, let's just get behind the team as much as we can this week. It is another massive week when it comes to Celtic. Obviously, we didn't get the desired result at the weekend, and we drew a blank. Hit the post a couple of times. Callum McGregor's shot. You're thinking, Kelechi, he misses an open goal at the back. He just doesn't get to it. There was a number of players. But Monday morning, we're still sitting second in the league, which isn't a bad thing, you may think. We are now 2 points behind Hearts. People are starting to think, well, we play Hearts in a couple of weeks' time. We really need to get our act together, because they're now 2 goals better than us in the league. I did say that we needed to score 3 goals at the weekend just to maintain our position at the top of the league. When you look at the league table, the Hearts are sitting top, which I hate saying this morning, but they'll be loving the fact that they're top. And people will say, look, it's the whole season. Nothing's won at this end of the season. The motivation for the Hearts players, it gives them that little boost. They're sitting top of the league, and fair play to them. Celtic know that they need to keep on working their way. Players may say things in public like, the silence doesn't affect us. But you've got to say, in the back of their head, if they're sitting thinking, God, I can hear Kelechi fucking shouting up the top of the pitch, well, it is having an effect on them, because they're thinking about it. They're thinking about the fact that they can hear, so they're not 100% focused, because, we'll wait and see. Hopefully it doesn't affect the players this weekend. Results didn't go the way that we wanted yesterday. It has allowed Livingston to drop down the league slightly to 10th position, which is unfortunate for Livingston. I wish them well throughout the season. It's a fantastic little stadium that they've got, and it's always a big away days. So, what do you think that Brendan Rodgers will do? Will he bring Rio Hatate back into the team this week after resting him with a little bit of tightness on his hamstring, or will he keep him out for a little bit longer? And then there's the big question that a lot of people are asking, what to do with Dyson Maeda, because a lot of people who were at the game at the weekend have come away from the game going, Dyson's just not interested. He's just not putting in the effort that he has done over a number of years, and he looks as if he's kind of spat the dummy out and went, I'll go on the pitch and I'll try it, I'll play, but I'm not going to, I'm just not even going to try. Tell me what you think about that. Do we drop Dyson Maeda? He is one of the better players that we do have. I mean, like we're talking about, if he was sold in the last transfer window, you're going to be wanting 25 million plus for him. As it stands just now, you'd be lucky to get nearly £3 million for him. And is Kelechi really the answer for goals? I mean, bringing in someone on a freedom of a contract, Brendan Rodgers has said the transfer window is a long way off. We've got a lot of football between now and the next transfer window, and let's just hope that we can get back to winning ways in Europe at home at Celtic Park. On that note, have a fantastic morning, Celtic fans, wherever you are all around the world.